Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Tonight, breaking news from Fort Bragg as U.S. Special Forces are training with cops for house-to-house raids. Then, a scientist at MIT uncovers a link between glyphosate, GMOs, and the epidemic of autism.
You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really. But
dangerous,
I know. Right? No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot.
Oh, yes, you are. All that plus much more up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
If you're like most Americans, you don't exactly enjoy paying your funds to the privately run Federal Reserve that's devaluing your currency with quantitative easing. But what if they were taking more out of your check than even they had somewhat of a, I won't say a right, but somewhat of a reason to attack? And let's say that sum was around $100,000 and you're a small business owner in North Carolina. Well, this is what actually happened to Lyndon McClellan. It says, although McClellan did not break the law or was he charged with a crime, the IRS and Department of Justice seized his money. Following a front page story in the New York Times, the IRS announced it will no longer pursue the seizure and forfeiture of funds associated solely with legit source structuring cases. Well, that makes me feel a whole lot better that they don't want to do it now that's in the New York Times and they have a big front page story to make them feel bad about themselves. And it makes me wonder, because a lot of times things will go on for a long time before they make the news. And then once they get caught, it's like, oh, well, we didn't really mean to do that. We're going to keep all the money that we seized. But hopefully we can get some help for this gentleman and they'll give him his money back and we can get rid of this stuff, these civil forfeitures. A lot of times you can be driving down the road and if you encounter an officer in certain states, if you have a lot of money, let's say you have $10,000 cash for whatever reason, won it at the bingo hall, whatever. You get pulled over, you have the cash in the car, the officer can seize your funds and say, hey, Mr. Smith, I think you're running an illegal drug activity. And he's like, I just won this at the bingo hall, so it doesn't matter. We're going to take your money. And if you ever do get it back, it's probably going to be years and you've got to spend thousands of those lottery winnings or whatever to get your money back. It's very unfortunate. And this is the type of mentally ill society that we now live in. And speaking of the mentally ill, let's talk about the mentally ill in some prison facilities, because I used to work at a county jail and a lot of times they would bring in mentally ill patients. And the thing about that is you'd have a guy who was maybe at a gas station or whatever doing some type of strange activity. They encounter the guy, they take him to jail because they really don't have any place else to put him. And a lot of people who say we should have mentally ill facilities to, house these type of people, facilities are very, very expensive. So a lot of times they'll put them in a prison or in a county jail and just hope for the best, even though those are not the places for these people because they need a doctor, not a guard. And now we have the article, mentally ill inmates abused in 5,000 U.S. detention centers. And it says Human Rights Watch has issued a report stating that mentally ill prisoners are being abused in detention facilities across the U.S. and that these practices are happening in over 5,000 facilities. And there's a tweet there from the Human Rights Watch. It's very unfortunate indeed, but these are things that happen and just talking about it isn't going to make it any better. We need some type of place to take these people if they need help. And, these homes, even where they go, are, like I said, are very expensive. Having some type of handler to help them throughout their day-to-day lives is very expensive, especially if it's somebody who needed this treatment since they were very young. And we'll move on now talking about glyphosates. And first, before we go to this clip, before we go to ARC, I want to run this clip of this gentleman who was a candidate for the glyphosate lobby, so to speak. And he's saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with glyphosate. And guys, well, I got some glyphosate, so I'm not going to drink that. Let's go to this clip and then we'll take a look at the article.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really. But
not really.
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay. So you.
No, but I know
so it's dangerous. Right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah.
So as you saw in the clip, if it's so healthy, you know, I got a big tall glass right here. Why don't you drink it? No, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to kill myself. But it's not just deadly to your overall ultimate health. Now there's a study coming out of MIT saying that glyphosate could be linked, as well with other things, to autism. It says autism affects as many as 1 in 68 children born in the United States, according to the CDC, up from 1 in 150 at the turn of the century. And it says nobody knows exactly why it's happening, but many people are pointing the finger at the glyphosates and the GMOs and saying that it could be used in the same things we see in Roundup. So if you spray your yard with Roundup, they're saying it could increase the risk for autism. And I also had a chance, I was talking to somebody one time out at a protest at a rally, and she was asking me about, you know, vaccines and GMOs and glyphosate. And I'm not an expert on any topic, but I could say, you know, it's a cocktail of these things. I don't think it's as simple as you take a shot and you get autism, or you encounter glyphosate and you get autism. But when you have such a large concentration of this stuff over the course of many years, it does, you know, the studies do show that it does have some type of an effect. And you contrast this with maybe an Amish community. They have very low numbers of autism. And there's that senator, congressman, he was talking on Capitol Hill saying that they didn't really have autism in Africa until people in the U.S. started to go over there with vaccinations. So, I mean, I think it's at least something worth looking at. It may not have the definitive finger like, yes, it's this one thing, but I think we should at least look at this stuff to make sure that these type of incidents don't happen to anybody in the future.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfowarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients, extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfowarsLife.com. That's InfowarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.